But it's funny that you say that the discrepancy amongst the libido, if you will, between the partners is the most common thing you hear. If you don't know, I wrote a book called The Dead Bedroom Fix, and it sold a lot of copies. And I've written over the years, over like the 7, 8 years that I've been doing this, I've written on, fatherhood and parenthood, not much interest. Finances and health and fitness, not much. And then, how about sex and marriage and the discrepancy between it seems to be low libido wives, and all of a sudden everyone just came to life. Like, oh wait, hold on, I can relate to this. What more of it? It turns out that is, if you set aside or you pull aside monogamous men in long-term relationships and marriages, and you say, what's the number one pain point that you're experiencing as a husband? 9 times out of 10, they will say, I'm just not getting as much as I want to get. It used to be great, now not so much. And I wrote a book about it, and sure enough, a bunch of people bought it. So here's the big question for sexologist Heather Ray. What the heck is going on? Is it just a matter of, if you read some books and listen to some experts and so forth, they will say, welcome to monogamy. Welcome to long-term monogamy. If left to its own devices, if you don't push against some of this natural instincts that we have or inclinations as a human animal, it invariably kind of veers towards sexlessness. You got to fight that veer towards sexlessness. You got to keep your hands on the wheel and make the corrections, or else it just goes right off the road. That's the natural way, is that you're supposed to drift apart and go find new partners, and you get bored with each other. Would you agree with that? What do you think's going on?
I feel the biggest issue with that is we get too comfortable. And that's the easiest way for me to describe it. We get comfortable and we stop learning our partner because we assume we've been with this partner for 10 years. They're the same person they were 10 years ago, and we're not. Not only do we change mentally, physically, our needs are changing. What we like and what we dislike are going to change. And so another one of my analogies is, when you first started dating and you knew that your wife loved strawberry ice cream, and you went and you bought her that strawberry ice cream, and you still, every now and then when you think about her at the store, you're like, let me grab that strawberry ice cream and just surprise her with a little thing of ice cream today. Maybe she doesn't like strawberry ice cream anymore. So the thought is still there. You're still being a sweetheart by going and getting that for her, but maybe she likes sherbet now. But if you don't ask those questions, you're not going to know. And we get lazy in our relationships and we stop asking our partner those questions. And that's like my biggest thing is there's so many things in the market that you can buy that are just like, even like intimacy questions that you can just pull a stick or a card and ask your partner a question. And it's funny, like I encourage finding those things and bringing them on date night. Pull out the stick or the card and ask your partner these questions at the dinner table. And yes, some of them might be a little bit sexy, but it's also kind of, oh my gosh, can anyone hear me? Like it makes you giggle. It sparks that excitement like you had in the beginning of your relationship. So making sure to not underestimate those small little silly things that you see out there. They actually do they do something really big for your intimacy with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of it is just simply we get comfortable and we stop doing those things that we prioritized in the beginning of our relationship. And we forget that our partners change and we should embrace that rather than trying to keep them the same person they were when we dated, because you can be so much bigger and
Yeah.
better.
You've said a couple of things here. One is comfort. When we get comfortable and everything's just kind of that soft, cozy blanket of stability, of security, of predictability,
Mm-hmm.
that especially, correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree with it, if you disagree with this, but I think that tends to be a libido crusher for women more so than it is for men. That once I'm comfortable and everything is good and predictable and I know what's going to happen this Monday, next Monday, and the Monday after, and same old, it's just, you find a lot of women kind of looking at their watch like, is this all there is? And my body is kind of shutting down sexually, and I kind of go into a sexual dormancy, if I will, which, the books like by Esther Perel and so forth point to one of the biggest libido sparks for women is novelty, newness. Oh, something unique, new, shiny. This wakes me up. And you can, the most obvious, and we can get into this way of doing that is to throw a grenade in the room and say, how about new sexual partners? That'll get it done, sure. May not be the healthiest thing for your relationship, but it's a little risky, more than a little risky. But there are some things you can do to kind of mimic that same energy at a much more minor league scale. And that may be like those intimacy cards thing. Let's pull this out and talk about, and that may unleash or reveal something. Oh, I didn't know that about you. Novelty, newness. Oh, you like that? I can't tell you how many men, let me reverse that. How many women have contacted me since my videos are getting out there more and more via a direct message on Facebook and TikTok and so forth saying, I saw your videos that come from the male perspective, which is great, but it's interesting is that I'm experiencing the exact same thing as a woman. I actually have an interest in fill in the blank. Often what I'm hearing is I'm having an interest in other women. I'm having an interest in S&M type stuff, like let's get restraints and things like that. And I bring to husband thinking that he's going to be like, woohoo. But instead, husband is like, what's wrong with what we're doing? This makes me feel like less of a man. Am I not enough for you? Which sounds like a very stereotypical kind of lady thing. When the woman, discovers that man's looking at pornography. Am I not enough for you? Why would you need to look at those women? This is basically akin to cheating on me. And same kind of energy from the men. Why do you want to kick things up a notch? You're having fantasies about other people. Uh-oh. Does this mean you're cheating on me? Da-da-da. And so on and so forth. So I always say to men, like, don't squash that energy. That is important. You have to be secure in yourself to say, oh, this is normal human sexuality. Your wife comes to you and says, I have fantasies about threesomes or whatever it is. Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen in real life. Just run with the mental energy in that. And again, all that points to is the novelty, newness. We have to figure out ways to include that in the relationship if you want to keep things hot and heavy, as I often say, which is kind of difficult to do in a long-term monogamous relationship.